Listen closely. Creating and maintaining a successful relationship with a high quality woman is one of the most fulfilling experiences you can have as a man. A woman that not only meets your needs in every way, but knows you better than anyone in the world and accepts you fully, especially your shortcomings. And still, you strive to become better and better day by day because of how much she inspires you. A woman that fills you up and breathes life into you with her energy. She is caring, nurturing, and sexy as hell. And few men in this world ever get to experience that longer than the 3-month honeymoon phase. And that's because they fail to know what cultivates that in a woman. And if you don't learn how to create that, you will not only lose that woman you love, but she will eventually open herself up to another man in every way. And I mean to be graphic with that, and I want it to sting because this is a serious topic. You can only create that future with her if you learn how to become a high value man. But what does it mean to even be high value? You get so many experts saying that a high value man is someone like this.
In order to be a high value man, it starts with money. You can't be high value and homeless, so you have to make a certain amount of money, and the line is roughly at $10,000 a month.
Number one, he is earning at least 6 figures or more consistently and consecutively for a minimum of 3 years.
But there's so much conflicting information out there. Contrary to popular belief, it's not how much money's in your bank account. It's not having some dream physique or even having the possibility of getting with a lot of women. Yes, of course, you should try to make money, be financially free, and be extremely healthy in your body. But as you'll see, a woman would rather be in a shoebox with a man that knows all of these lessons today in this video than in a mansion with a man who knows none of this video. I'm gonna share with you 15 powerful lessons that a high value man learns that makes a woman addicted to him physically, psychologically, emotionally, and even spiritually. Let's jump in. The first lesson is to never react to her frame. It's all about framing battles. In every relationship, one person has more power than another person. Whether it's a boss to their employee, a mother to their son, someone is always having more influence and more perceived value. What a lot of guys mess up here with is that they will fall into their wife's frame. An example of this is that she comes home from work, she's upset, she's stressed, she's had a really bad day. And then she takes it out on you because she's in that just emotional turmoil of the stress. What a lot of guys will do unsuccessfully is that they will react. Her emotions will affect theirs. In psychology, there's actually something called state transference, where essentially someone's emotions, whoever has a stronger frame, whoever has more influence, more perceived power in the relationship, the person that wants less from the other person, they're more able to influence the person in less power. And she wants to look up to you. So whenever you are in reaction to her, you're seeking validation. Her negative emotions make you affected negatively. She loses respect and attraction toward you. And a lot of guys get this twisted. They think that, oh, I can never show any emotion to my woman. I can never show my vulnerabilities. That's not the case. It's all about reaction. There is action coming from within, and there's reaction. Something outside of you is affecting the way you feel about yourself in the present moment. This is probably the hardest one for guys to grasp. And once you get this one down, it's the 80-20 rule. I'm starting off with the most powerful one. As a tactic, the best way you can convey this lesson to the woman that you're with is that no matter what emotion she's experiencing, this may seem corny, but just trust me and try it out. You look at her in one eye and you just smile. Don't move, don't say a word. You just look at her, see whatever she's going through, positive, negative, whatever emotion it is, and see her for who she really is. Strip away all the inner chatter, all the inner dialogue about how she should be, what the moment is, why she shouldn't feel that way. And you don't react. That alone is going to stop the bleeding for a lot of failing relationships. The second lesson is that you have to fall in love with your fear. One of the biggest problems, issues, things that have caused a woman to lose attraction for the man they're with is complacency. For a woman especially, that complacency, that even keel emotion where it's just nothing. We're not striving for more. She's bored, and that boredom is the death of all attraction. As men in our logical mind, once you achieve something successful, you have this resting period, right? Then you want to go achieve more. Think about it with your business or your career, graduation. I remember it was the peak of the pinnacle of my career aspirations to become a licensed therapist. Once I did, I remember holding that certificate in my hand, 8 years of hard work, almost being kicked out of graduate school and just going through one of the biggest debacles of my life. I finally had that paper and I had a sense of euphoria. I finally completed that task. Call my mom, call my dad, called a couple friends, and then later that night, what's next? You see, you have a natural striving towards other areas of your life, or at least you should. And with your woman, we have this idea that once you've got her, once you married her, once she's yours, once you've fallen in love with her, even on a biological basis, once you've impregnated her too, we evolve to just not have to put as much work into the relationship. But a relationship, like your body, is an iterative process, which means there's never one point where it's fully achieved. It's a constant daily practice. But somewhere in your subconscious mind, whether through its society or whatever, you have the belief that once you achieve that result with her, once she's yours, once she's loyal to you and committed to you, that you can kind of just slack off, become complacent, not go as many dates, not give her that presence, not follow all the lessons that you're going to learn in this video. And what happens is that the woman feels like you just don't care anymore. And I know for you, in your mind, trust me, I get it. You love her. Things are peaceful. Things are great. Like, why should you have to strive for more? But you have to recognize a woman's psychology. And she craves that constant striving toward. She wants to be, if you look at every girl's dating profile, a lot of them say they want to go on an adventure. And that just speaks to a woman's idea that she wants to constantly be growing, changing, having new experiences, novel experiences. It's in a man's paradigm to have this sense of peace and relaxation. But for a woman, she wants that constant striving toward. And that's why you're going to learn from later lessons. There's a way to do this in your relationship that you can kind of take from one place and apply it to her. But you have to recognize from this lesson that you must always be leaning toward fear. What is the next echelon of your life? Not just in the relationship, but just the next echelon of your purpose. Something that you're doing that is hard. Even if it's something as simple as picking up a new hobby, whether it's rock climbing, martial arts, something, writing a novel. What are you doing that is helping you grow as an individual? She's attracted to the man that is constantly pursuing, achieving, growing. That is the most attractive trait. And so when you become complacent, that's why she just automatically, it all turns off for her. The third lesson is that you have to fall in love with all of her crazy. Now, I want you to have personal boundaries as a man. We'll talk about that later as well. And you have to have a distinction point about how much crazy you'll accept with certain behaviors. But you see so many out there in the manosphere, which is like this pocket of guys who think that they know what's best for men. I guess you can even put me in there, I suppose. But a lot of them, they will just try to argue against female nature. On the converse side of this, a woman who says like,
why do men always want to like stare at women that are attractive? Well, how come men always want sex?
It's like those women don't accept men and our behavior, right? And when you argue with reality, it hurts. You have to accept that she is not the same as you. Woman, if she's in her natural feminine, which she should be if you want to be a high value man in a relationship, she's going to have these mood swings back and forth. I mean, her hormones with everything, like the wind blows and she changes her emotions. And as a man, you have two options. You can be angry about it. Why is she this way? This is bullshit. How come she's always causing drama? Or you could be like, that's just the female. That's just my wife. That's just my girlfriend. She loves drama. She's crazy. She wears her emotions on her sleeves. And when you can flip that mindset that you love that feminine and you see it as a challenge to step up toward, and that's what that difference creates that attraction to you guys in the first place. That's where the term opposites attract came from. It had nothing to do with like, oh, you know, they're a Christian and I'm a Satanist, or I don't know, right? That's a bad example probably, but you know, that's not where that term came from. The term opposites attract came from this polarity. Men and women, yin and yang, these opposites. And when you celebrate her differences and how she doesn't always want to seek peace, how she makes these small little trivial things into a huge deal, and you want to make big things into a small deal, that is the beauty of life. So celebrate that part of her feminine. And when you start to have appreciation and respect and love for that side of her, she will feel that love and she'll open up to you. I was at a business conference in Austin last week, and the creator of this new company that I can't talk too much about, he went on testosterone, and then he had to take estrogen to kind of balance things out. And he was fully on estrogen. He forgot to take his testosterone 1 week. And so he had a flood of estrogen in his system. And he was like, wow, I know what it felt like to be a woman. He was getting these random emotions out of nowhere. He wanted to say these things that were just not logical. And this is a guy, he's a pretty normal dude. And he was like, this is crazy. This is what women experience, right? And he had a better appreciation and more empathy for that type of worldview. Never, ever avoid her pain. When a woman is opening up to you, a lot of guys think that she's being so hateful or angry or cold, or she's being bitchy, she's being naggy. Like, why is she so mean? You have to recognize a lot of guys in my marriage mastery program, they wish their wife expressed those emotions. when she's expressing all those that pain to you, she feels safe enough to. The moment she stops bringing up complaints and problems and stops trying to work on things in the relationship, then you're screwed. Now she's apathetic. Now she's looking for someone else to bear her pain. Pain is a natural part of human existence, right? Suffering is optional. But whenever she brings pain to you or criticism and you shut down, you try to solve her problems, you try to just get rid of her. I know maybe your intention is to just seek peace and help her feel okay. But the message that she's getting is that she's not allowed to experience those emotions. Compound that over a decade, 20 years sometimes in the cases of some marriages of the guys I work with. And the woman feels like she can't be herself. You have to embrace her pain. One of the best ways to do this is to embrace your own. So many men I work with, they have so much trauma. You have trauma. I know everyone has trauma. Trauma is like this buzzword. It's like you've experienced things in life that made you question your own value as a man, your own safety, right? It threatened your survival on an emotional level. And your inability to embrace your own pain and to work through it, you're going to push other people's pains away too. If you have kids, for example, and they're going through something traumatic, the best way to be there for them is to allow them to experience those emotions. That is emotional intelligence. It's highly valued in a relationship with a woman. Stop shutting her pain down. Stop trying to solve her problems. There are other techniques to allow her to experience that emotion, help her work through it. And when you can help her work through that pain and you're there for her, you don't shut down, you don't cower away, that's when she begins to open up to you more because she trusts you. That pain will subside. No one stays angry forever. I don't, trust me, Josh, you don't know my wife. I get it. Women can hold grudges for a very long time. But it was a learned behavior that she can't trust you. If she's opening up her pain to you, it is a good thing. Embrace it. You need to go kill your father. Not literally. The expectations of many men from their father are still carrying weight in their life. The most obvious examples are the career path you've chosen, things you've done growing up, or just the way that you interact with your wife that are generational patterns that you learned from your father. An example of this for me, the way I killed off my father was, I remember we had a family meeting not a meeting, but a family get-together, family meeting. And I was in Newport Beach at a dinner. And at that time, my parents were divorcing. And I was still getting some financial support from my father in graduate school, a little bit here for gas and groceries. And I heard of this concept about how you have to become, if you want to fully develop, you have to fully cut ties with your father and see him in a different light. Not as this, however you see your father, but more as just another fellow man. And one of the ways to do this is to cut off, for me at least, financial support. For many men, it's that emotional thread tying them together. This doesn't mean that you can't care about your father as a person, but those expectations are preventing you from reaching your full potential. And so I remember I had this whole thing planned out. At the end of the dinner, I was going to do like a, ching on the glass, and I was going to hand my dad the credit card. Like, Dad, I don't need this anymore. I'm going to try to survive on my own. And I was only working part-time and stuff. And so I was like scared, but I was like, hey, this is what's best for me. I'll figure out a way. And I remember handing my father the card, and I expected him to be happy. And he said, Josh, you trying to fuck me up? I was shocked because my father identified as a father. That was one of the main roles he played in this world. It's like he was a father and he was an employee. He invested all of his life into those two domains and a husband, but that was falling apart. So he was questioning his sense of self, and then one of the few vestiges he had left to identify himself as was financially supporting his son. And he strived to maintain to me to help him. And it was a difficult moment. And it's kind of like crabs in a bucket, right? Your father is holding you back. Whether he's verbally doing it, he's still in your life, or even if he's passed away. For most men, there's these expectations that your father put on you since birth, as a child, that you're still living through that aren't who you really are. It's not your true calling. There's many techniques and exercises if you want one. One's called the empty chair technique that you can look into. I have a lot of them in my program that help guys really overcome. But to fully become a high-value man in a relationship, you have to kill off that idea those expectations that your father had on you. Picture this. You're living about a couple thousand years ago. You have to go off to war. You have a wife and children. And as before you leave your house, your wife is crying. She's bawling. She knows there's a really good chance she's never going to see you again. You look at her in the eyes, you give her a kiss on the forehead, and you walk away. And then in another scenario of you, as you're walking away, you stop. You look back at your wife. You say, you know what? I don't have to go to war. I'll stay here with you. Do you think your wife is actually going to be happy with that? If you tap into this true sense of masculinity, what it means to be a man, probably not. She might be happy in the moment, but she'll lose respect for you. This is the next lesson. As a man, your purpose comes first. Your woman comes second. It's controversial to some, but your woman is not your main priority in your life. She is a priority, but not the main one. You have inherent gifts, talents, dreams, something that makes your spirit, just your soul, liven up. I can't tell you what your purpose is, right? You have to explore it. You have different experiences and you create this, every experience is like a brushstroke on the canvas and it creates this picture of what your purpose is. An example of this, something super small. I had to record this video today. My girlfriend invited me to go work out with her. I love working out with her and I want to make her happy. I love that experience. But I had to do this. This is my purpose. I told her I would love to, but I can't because I have to do this thing. She understands. And she's going to constantly test and push you off your purpose. That is one of her goals, is to see if she can push you off your purpose, to knock you off course, to see that you are the man that is striving towards what you're here for. If you don't know your purpose, you must discover it now and live through it. There's this inner calling in you for you to do something on this planet. And I always tell guys that I was doing a speech actually in a mastermind with 100 plus people, and I was telling them about my business experience, and I was telling them that each of you has these goals and skills and talents and a story to tell that can help so many others. And if you're not living through your authentic purpose, helping this world, serving others, you're being selfish. Maybe you're already living your purpose through your career and that's amazing. But for many others, it doesn't. You must discover it. Change through praise, not criticism. In the masculine frame, if I think that you're overweight, you're fat, I'm like, dude, what the hell? You're gaining weight. Like, why are you a fat ass, right? It's gonna get you to the gym. But in the feminine nature, in their polarity, that actually hurts them. If you want to reinforce a behavior in a woman, this is pretty, you can use this for manipulation, but it's all positive. Manipulation is not a bad thing. It's just changing something, right? Manipulating, moving it, morphing it. You want to essentially motivate her through praise. So if you want your wife to work out, to eat healthy, you're not going to say like, oh, you've been gaining a little bit of weight, or like, oh, that dress looks tight on you, or that's the challenge, right? Instead, you want to say, oh my God, it is so sexy when you sweat. I love eating healthy meals with you. I just feel so connected. We feel so alive together. I want to work out with you. I want to spend more time with you in the gym. It's just so fun to like have those endorphins with you and feel good, and you can even reward it further and you guys can have sex after, right? But the feminine nature only changes through praise. Think about this with other women. They always gas each other up all the time, right? They rarely challenge each other. That's a masculine trait. So if you want to change a part of your wife, start praising her more. It's almost like you're taking water. It's like water this plant, right? You're like, that is the praise. Like, I love you so much. You're so amazing. You're so sick. You get the point. The next lesson is the desire paradox. I say this ad nauseum in the course. The most attractive emotional experience you can have with your wife is to want her, is to desire her, to crave her, but you don't need her. When it comes to sex, for example, you desire her, you come on to her, you try to have sex with her, but when she turns you down, water off a duck's back. You don't need sex. You don't need anything from her. You are full as a man, with or without her, and she knows it. A lot of guys get this twisted and they say, well, she needs to know that you will leave her for another man at any moment. No. She knows you can. She knows you can go attract a high quality woman, but a lot of guys will hear that advice and they'll start flirting with other women in front of their wife or stupid stuff like that. It makes her feel insecure and not safe. The other day I was on a call with one of my clients and he was really depressed. Just really down, just wasn't seeing anything I was telling him. And I have a specific way to help guys out of that, but the main crux of this is that he told me flat out, he said, Josh, I am nothing without her. He was essentially saying, I need her. And you're not literally on your knees physically begging for her, but emotionally she sees you that way when you need her. Again, she doesn't want to be with a man that needs her. It puts pressure on her. When she's with an insecure man, she doesn't feel safe. Feeling safe is one of those inherent biological needs a woman has. She has to feel secure and safe with a man that you'll provide and protect her. And when you need her, it's repulsive, literally. Imagine if you were with a woman or your wife or girlfriend, and hopefully you find her attractive, and then all of a sudden, she starts to gain 50, 60 pounds. She goes bald. Not only that, but she becomes mean. Because I know I'm not just going to say physical attributes. Physical attributes are important. We're men here, right? But then she becomes mean and like terse with you and like just an a-hole. You're going to be like, what the hell? Like that is how a woman starts. She literally will start to see you differently when you become needy. But the beautiful thing about this is that as soon as you eradicate that neediness, you show desire. Hey, I want to be with you, but I'll be okay without you. I want us to work. 1 + 1 = 3, right? But I'm still one, whole, complete without you. That Stop using logic. Stop it. You can use logic in pretty much every domain of your life. The rationality is why we're separate from all the other creatures, right? We have this rational, cognitive, prefrontal cortex, this thing. But when it comes to her emotional experience, using logic, this doesn't connect, man. When your wife or girlfriend is going through some emotional trauma, drama, pain, as we talked about before, and you're thinking, well, why are you this way? What if you got a good night's sleep? If you just, with your job, if you just quit it, if you just de-stress yourself, if you just got more sleep, if you just did this, you're trying to solve her problem, you're trying to use logic. Or even if she's complaining about something about you and you're like, well, yeah, I said that right now, but our history together, I haven't done that up till now, so you shouldn't be this upset because this is the first time I've ever done this. You shouldn't be this upset. Right? You're shooting all over her with your logic and trying to get her to change the way she feels through some rational, like, if I just like get her to see this, then that, and then this, my brain is structured that way. I'm very structural and strategic in the way I think. But for a woman, she can think that way. She can use those logical skills. But when that blood is flowing to her amygdala, thalamus, the emotional centers, it's this giant storm that is just taking place. And she's doing everything she can to just ride that storm. And what she's seeing you doing is like, you just trying to tell her to press this button in the bottom of the storm so the storm stops. But she doesn't see the button, nor does she care if she even did see it. She can't even reach it. She can't even reach it. And so the way you respond to your wife instead, or girlfriend, when she's going through those emotions, you are a mirror. You have that solid, grounded presence we talked about. You're non-reactive. And you reflect those emotions back to her. You become the shore to her ocean. You are unmoving. She crashes into you, she's moving all around, and you're just holding space. You're giving her that masculine divine presence that she craves. You're understanding her. You're reflecting back those emotions. Man, you must feel awful right now. That's horrible. I can't believe she did that to you. Yeah, that's absolutely right. You feel completely frustrated that I didn't take out the trash. I get that. Yeah, you're allowed to feel that way. I totally get it. You're not saying you're wrong. So many guys get their ego caught up in it. If I admit she's right, then I lose power. It's like, no, you can validate someone else's experience and the way she's feeling without agreeing to it. I see the way you see things. This is why so many women win fights, is because they'll never see logic and they'll just keep on going until the guy just breaks down and gives up. It's because you're fighting a losing battle. You're not using the right tools. It's like you're using a foam sword and she has this giant freaking halberd slicing you apart because you're not using the right tools. Okay? Stop using logic to solve her emotions. One final point on this. These emotional needs are relationship based. And if you have a child or a little brother or sister, and they were to come to you and say, like, hey, am I going to die one day? A logical response would be like, well, we all die, and you're going to eventually die and it's going to suck. That's one way to respond through logic. Or you could be like, yeah, you feel scared that one day you're going to probably die. You know, you're going to live a very long time. It's okay to feel scared about that. Always, always, always make decisions. Give her the gift of choosing for her. It takes calories, responsibility, energy, lead, masculine growth to decide, to create, to choose. Women are very indecisive. This isn't news to you probably, right? Think about all the times that your wife had to choose and how stressed out she was because of it. I get so many clients why it's like, this is one of the biggest fast shifts you can make with her is to start choosing more things, right? Let's take dinner as the example. Usually you're like, I really don't care what I could eat. I can go for anything right now. And you genuinely don't care. You really don't. You're like, I could eat anything. I don't have a preference. Here's a little technique. Say, there's these two options that I could go for. I prefer this one. What about you? Right? Love Italian. I could also do sushi. I prefer sushi a little bit more because of this reason. What about you? Or you're out shopping and she says, which dress do you like better? I get this all the time, right? I get my girlfriend asking me about clothes all the time. I'll take the 2 extra seconds to be like, that's my favorite. And most times she'll be like, well, I like the other one. Okay, go with the other one. But make a decision. Put your opinion out there, right? That's feeling that you are collaborative, that you care. I know it seems so insignificant to you, but by you choosing, it shows that you are invested into the relationship, which is what she wants. Make more decisions. You are the leader in the relationship. The reason why she is cold, pulling away, withdrawal sex, is not emotionally expressive. It's not because of her trauma. It's not because she's just a stubborn woman. That's just how she is. She's that way because you are the feminine. You've exhibited feminine traits of all the things we talked about so far. And so now she has to pick up the slack and develop these masculine traits of protecting herself, of being more dominant, of making decisions because you were the one that fell off. It's so easy for you to just, well, that's just the way she is. You know, and I'm this way because she's that way. That's taking all the power out of you. The masculine leads, the feminine follows. The masculine leads, the feminine will follow. Think of the last time that she had to remind you to do something, right? And how much she tensed up because of it. And now she had to go into her masculine because she can't trust you to do something. You said, oh, I'll do this thing later. I'll get it done. And for her, she wants it done. Now she's like, oh, I have to take care of it, or I have to remind you. She's becoming the manager now. She doesn't want to do that. That's stressful. If you can't do something in that present moment, I was telling this to a client the other day, say, hey, I'm going to do it on this date at this time, and then stick to it. We always think of trust being this like, these massive betrayals of like infidelity or like stuff like that, but trust is lost by death of 1,000 cuts. Every time you said you were going to do something and you put it off, she lost trust for you. You have to recognize that she is the way she is because of you. Whether that's 100% true or not, living through that perspective gives you the most power to change the relationship. Your track record means nothing to her. Okay? I heard these women talking the other day about the guys they were with. And I was listening for things like, oh, he looks like this, he's this tall, he makes this much money, this, and that. They were like,
oh, he makes me feel this way. The other day he did this thing for me and it was so small.
Women don't care about your track record. They don't care about these external things that you've created. The money you've managed to create, the body you have, those are all external results of an internal person you are, okay? And when it comes to your track record too, when it comes to fights and communication, you could have a perfect history of never messing up, never cheating on her, never flirting with some girl, and then one moment she thinks you're flirting with someone and she brings it up. If you say, I've never done this before, I've spent 10 years with you and I've never ever did this. You've done this thing, you flirted with a guy back in 94 and blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't matter. She's living in that present moment. In that present moment, she doesn't care about your track record. She feels that way right now. And if you're trying to bring up like evidence using logic as like a court case, you shouldn't be this upset because of the things I've done. Or you should feel grateful because look at the house, look at the kids, look at all the trips and the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars I've spent on you. She doesn't care. She doesn't care. It's about showing up with her in that present moment. That's all she cares about. The beautiful thing about this is that your mistakes are also forgettable. You can make a bunch of mistakes and you're like, well, hold on, Josh, wait, no. I know that when she brings up stuff from the past, like, no, she does not forget my mistakes. Hear me out. You change a woman's mood, you change her mind. Yes, when she's upset, she will go to those past things. And if I was doing therapy or coaching with your wife, I would tell her not to do that, right? That you have to forget and move on. However, I'm not. I'm working with you. And as the masculine, you're leading. And I'm letting you know that when she's upset, she's bringing up those past things. If you shift her mood in that present moment, she all of a sudden forgets. One of the biggest mistakes that I will see men make in relationships is that we, as men, we hear words carry weight. For a woman, they do not. So when she says, I'm done, I want a divorce, it's over, I need space, all these things, it's a warning sign, but a true masculine man has learned this lesson, that that's just what she's saying in that present moment, right? She doesn't really feel that way. And if you have the confidence to know that you can shift her mood and then you shift the way she sees things, because that emotion is a veil looking at the past and the future with you. And if you shift that veil to have her see a different perspective and seem grateful with you because you know how to get her out of those moods from all the lessons that I taught you so far, she forgets the past. It doesn't matter anymore. The other day I was playing with my girlfriend about this and she brought up an issue that I brought up from the past. And I was like, I'm just messing with her, so sorry, babe. I was like, how come earlier you didn't, everything seemed fine, you were happy. If this is bothering you, why don't you bring it up then? Kind of like hardwired her circuitry.
She was like, well, it's because like it is there. It's just like, I don't want to think about it all the time, Josh. Because
essentially what's happening right there is that she's feeling a certain way and that's all she knows is that feeling. And so if you try to use that past record to excuse your current behavior, it only makes things worse. She wants the killer in you, the contained killer. The like female romance novel genre is like, I don't even know how much money. It's like millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? And the main male archetype, the hero, the character, the guy who gets the girl, he's always the same archetype. It's always someone who is dangerous, right? Has the capacity to hurt and kill, but contains it with her. This doesn't mean that you have to go out and, show that you can kill someone. Not at all. What it means is that she knows that that killer is inside of you, that you have that power to defend and protect. But with her, you sheathe it. She wants to know that if you guys get jumped at night, that you're going to grab the bat, that you're going to go check out that noise in the middle of the night. A lot of guys don't really suffer from this too much, but if you're showing those needy behaviors, if you're backing down in conflict and you're appeasing her, whatever you want, right? It's that balance. You don't want to be overly aggressive with her, but you don't want to be super passive. There's this healthy middle ground, the apex male that I call it. That's that assertive, integrated masculine, that you're assertive, you have your boundaries, you don't strive away, you don't move away from conflict, you go toward it, especially with her and your own pain. Those are examples that there's that killer inside of you, that you're constantly striving towards more in life, that you are able you have the capacity to kill if you want. This is a dark side of psychology that I'm hesitant to go deeper into. Maybe I will in a future video. I mean, if you watch the video this far, then I guess I'll reward you and tell you there's a story about I was dating this girl and she was drunk, and then when people get drunk, their true carnal desires come out, right? And she was flirting, we were just dating, she was flirting a bunch of guys in front of me to see how I react. It was, she was younger, I was younger. And then I wasn't reacting, of course, and then she comes up to me and she was like, I want you to kill someone for me. That's just a prime example of this whole point. She was drunk. She will continue to test your biggest insecurities until you become secure in them. She knows all your weakest points, where you feel insecure, where you feel weak. And she will test those because she wants you to overcome them. She's pointing out your weak spots. You could see this as cruel if you want to. A lot of guys will. I want you to have boundaries as a man. I want you to be able to learn to set those boundaries appropriately. Say, this is not cool, that you can't talk to me this way with this tone or whatever. I'll go over a whole video of that in the future. If you want, you have to comment down below and let me know, and I will, how to assert those masculine boundaries. But you have to recognize that her testing is not a conscious process. She's not thinking,
he's definitely insecure about that bald spot. I'm going to bring it up now.
no, but she will say things to you to test you because she wants to be with a man that is fully self-loving, confident, has no insecurities. That's not possible because you're a human being. But knowing this gives you the opportunity to work on them, to practice self-love. And the best domain or the best frame of mind that you can have is that she is giving you that gift to see this is what you're insecure about. Let's work on it together now. And as a man, I don't want you to tolerate abuse. I don't want you to tolerate any behavior that just doesn't make you feel, I don't want, if she's being straight up just mean to you, attacking your character as a man, that's different. But coming after your individual behavior, which you can change, that's something that you have in your power to change, okay? But just know that women will continue to test you where you failed because she wants you to succeed. And this is not a conscious process. Now, if you feel like neediness is one of those key areas that you really struggle with, there's a video that you can watch right now on screen going over other silent needy habits that you are showing her that is making her feel repulsed and disgusted. Watch that video, subscribe if you're new here, and like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.